It might be early, but at least it feels good out here.
In my old Kentucky home, good night. Weep no more, my lady. Oh, weep no more today. We will sing one song for my old Kentucky home, for my old Kentucky home far away.
Good morning, Stive Tribe. Welcome to Stiver's Homestead. I'm Zach.
And I'm Jen.
And this morning, we are back from our trip, our little getaway trip down to Georgia. And of course, anytime you're gone for about 3 or 4 days, it seems like everything is exploded. There's stuff to harvest everywhere. Our fall seed starts are looking beautiful. And so we're gonna go on a little walk today and do all those things.
Let's do it. All right, so it used to be our zucchini and butternut squash and pumpkin bed. We pulled the zucchini up a few weeks ago, and we're about to pull up the butternut squash too. We've gotten so much. I never expected to get that much, honestly. How many plants do you think there was?
I think we ended up with about 10 or 11.
So about 10 or 11 butternut squash plants, and I probably have 30 or 40 butternut squashes inside that I've got to do something with.
Yeah, which
So
didn't you say you was gonna can them probably?
Yeah, I'm gonna can them, and they did really, really well. So we're gonna pull all this up, prep this bed for fall because there's a lot that we're gonna be planting in here. So what that means is once we pull everything up, we're gonna cover it with some more weed top over top, let it kill all the weeds and stuff, and just make it its own little healthy greenhouse in there. And then once that's done, and our seedlings are bigger, we can start putting stuff in here. But the pumpkins are still staying. They're still good, so they're gonna stay over there in that area. But the squash is coming up.
Yep, and we'll make sure to have a video of that showing all the pull up and then the recovering, because just in those little holes like Jen mentioned where the actual plants start, that's where the weeds are. The other weed type did good, but we want to make sure to kill everything out. It might be early, but at least it feels good out here.
You can't tell the allergies in Kentucky are real great right now.
So as Jen mentioned, this is the pumpkin bed. It's stained, so we have an L shape. So this side of the L is all stained, the other half is going out, and that's where we're putting in some of the fall stuff. The pumpkins are still doing good. Our sunflowers, on the other hand, are not. But they've just kind of lived their life. We got to enjoy their beauty, and the birds loved them, which is honestly just kind of why we plant them. Keep the birds over here, keep them on the sunflowers, enjoy the pretty for a while. But we still have some that are hanging out, looking really pretty. And you know, some people ask how we keep the birds off our sunflowers. You know, some things you just gotta let natural process happen, and that's what we do with these sunflowers. Birds get to enjoy them. That's their bird feeder. We also have a bad kind of weed problem over here, which we can come in and pull all this stuff out, but the pumpkins are doing great. We got Jack B. Littles everywhere. And then the pride and joy of this bed, of course, is the Cherokee Tans, which we got some over here that are starting to turn and looking really good.
Starting to turn. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Really excited about those. Got some pollination going on.
All right, little pollination. Getting that little, there's 2 of them in there.
Yep.
Get the bad boys. Pollinate the fire out of them pumpkins.
So while we were gone, I feel like our pepper plants grew like 10 feet. Not really, but they got really tall.
That fish minerals.
Yep, that fish mineral fertilizer we use. Here it is right here. The Hoss Tools. Some awesome stuff. And we put it on before we left, and they got huge. And I think they were loving the temperatures too, so that's awesome. So yeah, we're still harvesting peppers. Our peppers, as you can see, are very healthy. We haven't had any issues with them this year. We started all these from seed in the greenhouse, and they're just some good, healthy peppers.
We did have a little issue with some browning on the leaves. They weren't getting enough minerals, so that's when we kind of upped this bed with the fish minerals, and it really cured it quick.
Yeah.
The one thing we did different though, we didn't dilute very much when it was that bad, because we wanted it to go quick, so we just added just a very little bit of water to our fish minerals. And as you can see, all the bottom of the leaves are all green again and everything's fine.
Yep, so we're harvesting some of these. We've got some bells and some jalapenos and all kinds of peppers that it's time to get off, and we've got all kinds of tomatoes inside, so we'll figure out something to do with them. And probably not going to put them in the freezer because I have too many in the freezer. But we'll do something.
Good problem to have.
Yep.
Right, to the starts, we almost walked right by them. So one thing you notice, they're on the picnic table and not the greenhouse. So when we're here and we're on it and we're constantly home, we usually leave them in the greenhouse. But when we were gone for the weekend and our moms were coming up to kind of check on everything, we put them out here because we didn't want them to get too hot and die off, because most everything has germinated and is up. So basically, we're gonna let them grow on this picnic table now because it's underneath this tree that does get a little bit of shade, but it also gets a lot of sun. And as you can tell, it's doing really well. So we just really use the greenhouse to get them germinated.
So these are the rattlesnake pole beans. They're doing awesome. These are the peas. They're doing great too. Pretty excited about all those that came up. We've got some beets, all kinds of beets. So that's great. We really wanted to grow more, and we're gonna do it. We've got some cabbage, all kinds of cabbage, some Starfighter lettuce from Hoss Tools, some Skyphos lettuce from Hoss Tools, all kinds of kale coming up. That's kale Russian red and the scarlet kale. So those are doing awesome. We've got some graffiti cauliflower, some flame star cauliflower, some of our dill seeds from the Max Happy Homestead. They're all coming up.
What?
Cauliflower. The kohlrabi's coming up good, and all the nasturtiums, all the bok choy over here.
That bok choy is such a pretty little plant.
It's really pretty. It's so cute. The Swiss chard, some more beets, all kinds of beets, more peas over here. We've got a few, some more rattlesnake pole beans, but they're gonna do better in those bags over there.
Yep.
They're not gonna do very well in these little ones just because they get so big so quickly. Some lettuce little gem in here, some more kale, and some purple plum radishes. Yeah. So everything's doing good.
It really is. And you know, some of the things didn't germinate, and it's because it wasn't in the greenhouse and it might have been a little too hot. However, this worked out a lot better than having them all up in our house and everything like we did in the spring. And the reason we grew so many beets, if you saw our spring garden, you know, Jen, we got to pickle one little bitty pint and we fell in love with them. We made a shirt out of it because we loved them so much. That's why we're going on all the beets for the fall. So it's gonna be awesome. And that cauliflower was 100% germination rate, which was really cool. It's the flame star and the graffiti. Sorry, I got a little choked up there for some reason. But that's exciting. We're gonna grow that. We are not growing broccoli for the fall. It's just gonna be cauliflower and then a lot of lettuces, and then of course the beets that we're super excited about. Where you at, babe?
Over here.
Hey, yeah, it's dark. Where to next?
All right, coming over here to the other raised bed. We've got okra that should have been harvested probably a week ago. It's huge. I don't know if it'll be edible at this point, but
oh yeah, we'll fry it. It'll be edible. You know, okra is kind of like, you know, like zucchini. You'll yeah, that's a big one. It's there, and then if you don't look at it for one day, it grows a foot.
Yeah.
You even want a big one. Right over there is the biggest one, it looks like. But the okra plants are doing really well. They're getting really tall, nice tall stalk, and they are doing awesome.
I think we'll fry up some okra and some green tomatoes for lunch today.
Ooh, fried. Look at this guy.
Yeah.
But once again, we never have an issue with the slimy part. I don't know. I've never have, at least.
No.
We love okra though too.
Love it.
I think that's all of them on that one. You got some over there. You want me to get those? You gotta get into bed to get them. You can get them. Yum yum. Oh, The loofahs, look, the loofah's on that one. The loofah has came out onto that okra plant. I'm gonna have to get him back. If you don't stay on this loofah, it will take over everything. My goodness, it likes to just sprawl out all over the place.
It's choking everything out.
Yeah, but we just keep redirecting it and letting it do its thing, but it's really taking over. So since we're on the topic, did you get all the okra?
I think so.
Okay. This loofah is huge. It's about time to get some of these big guys off. It's getting close though, right?
No, everything I've read says that they have to turn yellow.
Well, yeah, I guess we can since it's...
They're huge.
Yeah, they're very big.
I'm surprised this pallet hasn't fallen down yet.
Oh, the caterpillar truck? Yeah, call it a pallet.
Whatever.
But they're everywhere. They're getting big. And then, so one thing we did, if you remember, we had Chinese red noodle beans on here. That's where you see some of these dead plants, which will be taken off. But we trellised this guy on over to this cattle panel, and it's now taking over this side. And we've got a lot of little loofahs on here, one there. Let's see, there's one right here, one over here. And so we're gonna have loofahs for days, and that's absolutely fantastic. We were so excited. We weren't, first time ever growing these, we weren't sure about them. And Jen is really gonna have some awesome Christmas presents, and I can't wait to see that loofah process when they dry out and everything, and you all get to watch with all of it. Look, a little more pollination happening. Bro, you can go to a different one. This one's, I think, okay. So the dead cucumbers are not dead, and they just keep going, and we keep getting cucumbers all over it. Look at this.
They're just, my table's full of cucumbers again.
I think it was one of the...
My plan was to give them away, but nobody wants that many cucumbers, so I'm just gonna have to make more pickles.
Bad problem to have. I think that's the theme of this story. Bad problems to have.
Yeah.
You know, we're excited. We're just so happy that they just keep going. Like, look at this plant. And then look. What are you gonna do? There you go.
Okay.
The basket's getting full.
It is. This loofah is just crazy. All right, so this is the Bonnie Best bed, and they're still doing good. Still harvesting. Our problem is some of our stakes are breaking and the plants are falling over, but they're still producing. So we're just gonna continue to get these tomatoes off, and I'm kind of hoping that we get the last harvest soon, because it's almost time to pull them up, and I really hate to pull them up if we're still getting tomatoes, but we need the space. So it's gonna be, I don't know, it'll be a decision to make when that time comes. But as you can see, they're doing good. Yeah. They're not pruned anymore. You know, usually we like to keep ours really pruned and stuff because it gets so hot. But they just got so wild that it was impossible to do. But no blight or anything like that. They're just doing good. Our issue is caterpillars, but we're not going to do anything about it at this point in this season.
I mean, if I see them, we're going to get them, but...
Yeah, we'll pick them off. We're just not going to, you know, not going to do any kind of...
And see how early we're pulling these? And it's because if you have caterpillars, they won't bother them when they're unripe. But as soon as they start turning, I take them off and let them finish on the counter, just because they'll get in there and destroy them. But like, I mean, a lot of these are pretty close. And they haven't got to them, so that's nice.
And they do fine that way if you pick them early. They'll ripen up just fine, and they'll still taste great and do good. They won't go rotten before they ripe, so that's nice. So this is one of the ones that has fallen over. The stake broke in half, and it's just growing sideways now.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to take probably all the tomatoes off this one and pull this plant up.
Yeah, still got some pretty tomatoes on it though.
Yeah, but we're getting a lot of the good ones right now, and they're all starting to turn, so they'll finish.
Yeah, all kinds of tomatoes. Look at that pretty basket.
We are 3 raised beds in, and we're already almost completely full with cucumbers, peppers, tomatoes, and okra.
Yep, gonna need another basket.
All right, Jen's turn to work on a bed while I talk to you all. So we are on the variety bed. This bed's crazy. They're so tall, and the bag of sticks are just barely hanging on. We got dead plants, we got live plants, we got ginormous tomatoes everywhere.
Beautiful.
They are really pretty. They split easy. You really got to watch them. Look at these Aunt Ruby German greens. Let me see if I can get this one off one-handed without destroying everything. He's fine. If we can it or whatever, we can put it in. Look at this monster.
Oh.
Them Aunt Ruby German greens are big tomatoes, and they're very good. The only thing that we're gonna do differently, here, can you put that in there so I don't make them dizzy? Thank you. We planted a little too many of the Aunt Ruby German greens, and let's talk about them for a minute. Okay, Aunt Ruby German greens, a amazing plant, very easy to grow. It looks like it's been very disease resistant. It produces some big, massive tomatoes on it, and they're green. So that if you like a fried green tomato, or if you just like a green tomato in general, they're good and they're delicious. So a lot of people ask, when do I know when to harvest them? So a lot of it's the fill test, just like you would with almost any tomato. As it starts getting a little softer, you know it's getting time to harvest, and it'll start throwing little pink lines on the bottom. Very faint, but it'll have a little pink line on them. But here's the thing, for the Stivers Homestead garden, we're probably not gonna grow these again next year for two reasons. One, we like our green tomatoes a little more firm. So it's something that we didn't truly, I guess, realize until we grew an actual green tomato. So when we were frying them, it was a little more of a ripe tomato, of course, and so it was a little bit juicier. And honestly, we weren't the biggest fan of eating them that way. We almost liked an underripe red tomato as our fried green tomatoes. The only problem there is your tomatoes are a little bit smaller, but that's okay because we don't really eat them that often. It's more of just kind of a snack when we like them. So if you're a big fan of juicy green tomatoes as a fried green tomato, definitely grow these because it's an awesome plant. But next year, it doesn't make the cut for us because we want more canning tomatoes. So that's them. They're fantastic, but that's just what's happening here. What happened back here?
Getting in the jungle.
Getting in the jungle. See, this is what we're saying. I mean, every Aunt Ruby's German green is like a 1.5 pounder.
Yeah.
They're very big and
this
awesome.
Is how you know they're ready.
See that little bitty pink?
I wish you could feel it, and it's just too tender.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like them that way.
Yeah, and honestly, I like all my tomatoes a little more on the firm side.
I do too. I don't. We're weird, but we don't like juicy tomatoes. We like them firm.
Yeah, definitely firm. I like to bite into it and take a chunk out rather than it kind of mush, if y'all know what I'm talking about. But we have cherries all over the place still, doing good. Jen's already gotten a bunch. Let me show you. And these black Brandywines are beautiful. They're amazing and they taste really good. Oh, here's one down here. There we go. What you got?
You want me to get this one?
No, that's the Brandywines. You can tell. So one thing you can always tell is if it's a Brandywine kind of form, see that's a lot darker green on the top. Those are still to turn.
This one is rotten.
Yeah, that one's gone. Caterpillar got a hold of him. Looks like we're gonna have to move to the other side. I see a bunch over there. But see how they're all like falling over? It's like the leaning tower of, what is it, Pisa? Is that how you say it?
Pepper.
Pepper. Out to the other side. Yeah, look at my wife. Look how pretty she looks right there with them, getting them tomatoes with the sun, morning sun coming up behind her. Hey, boo. So everything is still pumping out here. We got some more white cherries. I see one right here.
They're everywhere.
They are everywhere.
Like, when are they gonna stop?
And see, a lot of people said that they weren't huge fans of these white cherries. Well, let me rephrase that. It seems like it's about 50-50. We love these because they are firmer. I think we're gonna grow probably a few more yellow tomatoes to get that, but look at there. I mean, that plant is gonzo and still getting tomatoes off of it.
So I didn't show it on video, but I cut my comfrey back last week. The kids actually helped me, and we cut it way back. I mean, there was hardly anything left besides the roots. And a week later, it is back. So it's awesome stuff. I love it. When I do cut it back and I don't have any use for it at that time, sometimes I'll dehydrate it, and then other times I'll feed it to the ducks and chickens and goats because it's really, really good for them, and they love it. It's so fresh for them, and they go crazy over it. But yeah, it's awesome. That's our comfrey. Everybody should grow comfrey. I think it's an awesome herb, and I absolutely love it.
Had to get the second basket.
I think it's a reinforcement.
Yeah, so this is the Haas Tools one. It's really cool. You're supposed to wear it in the front. I'm not a huge fan of doing it that way because it gets in my way, but it's an awesome over-the-shoulder kind of hanger. These are the Rebel tomatoes. Oh, Lord. They're doing good. These are beefsteaks and Ace 55s. They actually had the worst with the caterpillars, but we're finally actually getting some decent-sized tomatoes off of them. But you can see how they're trying to eat in there. And they are getting them a little early. But we're just rolling the leaves back, trying to find the caterpillars and getting them. We took up the, what was it, the green beans?
Yeah.
Bush beans that we had in here.
Yeah.
So this one will probably be one of our first winter beds too. These are awesome and good tomatoes, but we're gonna have to start making space. But we won't do that until our starts get a lot bigger.
Quick shot of the tea garden. It's doing awesome. I told y'all that I cut back some stuff so that my lemon balm could get bigger, and it is, which I'm super thrilled about. And my mint's finally able to take off too because it's got room. The dandelion greens are coming back. That's okay. The chickens and everyone love them. The basil has gone to seed, but I have more basil. These are my marigolds, which are still putting off like crazy, and my chamomile is trying to come back too. So love my tea garden. It is still doing awesome.
Okay, so last night on our live, a lot of people were asking about the heat tolerant carrots that we were growing. Do you remember the name of these things?
Puda Red Rudisa from Baker Creek.
Yeah, so they originated in India, and as you can imagine, they don't get very much of a cold season there. So these are heat tolerant carrots, and you just saw a shot of how big they're getting.
They're getting real big.
Yes, they are. We pulled up one last week before we left just to kind of test it, and it was about this big, but we tasted it. Fantastic.
So good.
That was also a concern, is you're growing in the heat, will it change the taste of the carrot any? Absolutely not. So sweet, so delicious, tastes like any of your favorite carrots that you have. So I love the carrots.
And these are the bush beans. They really need to be harvested. I'm not feeling that right now. I'm not gonna make y'all do that with us. There's so many on there, and I'm kind of done with the bush beans. So honestly, later on today, we might pull them up and go sit under a shade tree and pick all the beans off.
Sounds like a fantastic idea.
I think so.
And our favorite success story of our garden, our mini white cucumbers, we put 2 in that pot.
2 in 1 pot.
Right there, and they have been the most successful plant, the healthiest plant. We planted them midsummer. It was our second crop. That one got trapped in a chicken wire. We are getting so many of these, and they are so good.
They really are good. They're great for pickling too.
Y'all remember back when you were young? Well, for us it was younger. I think it was like early 2000s when the purple ketchup came out. So have you ever like tried that purple ketchup and like, I just can't do it because of the different color? You kind of get that with this white cucumber, because when you eat into it, like the seeds right around there are very, very green, but everything else is white. But they are so good, and we get so many of them.
Yeah, they're really good fresh for a snack or in a salad, and they're great for pickling too. So that's what we've been doing with them, and Wyatt loves to eat them fresh too. We also planted one in a pot on this side too, and it's grown up, and they've met in the middle, and they're doing really good. They just love this pallet trellis. If y'all haven't tried that idea, definitely try it, because it saves so much room and space, and it does so well.
Yeah, and we did a video on how to make them, but as you can tell, it's a pretty simple thing. You just put 2 together, lean them in, and then I actually took a pallet siding off and cut them and just put them on the side there to hold them in place.
Yeah, and don't forget your chicken wire, because everything has to attach to that chicken wire.
Yeah.
So these are the first round that we planted. They're the Be It Alpha from Baker Creek. They did awesome. I know they look bad. They've just ran their course. These were planted in like April, I want to say, and then we transplanted them out here, and they did great. They have put off so many cucumbers, and we're still getting them off.
Yeah, look over here. I mean, we're all the way down to the bottom of the pallet trellis, which was the go. I was curious, and once you get on this side, if you're just planting on one side and coming over, you don't have to have the chicken wire. It'll just fall over and hang out. But I think one video we might have to do more, maybe just for us for next year, but is go through and like talk about it when we planted each one, so we can kind of have that as a record keeping, and maybe help you all. We're in zone 6B, so that might be something beneficial for next one. I'm all locked and loaded. Let's go show them everything that we got. Let's lay this out on the table.
All right, let's go in. All right, so these are oh my goodness, these are the tomatoes that we already had on the table, and we've got some okra in that basket. We've got all kinds of green tomatoes too, and those are all the cucumbers that we're gonna pickle. And now we're adding all these to everything.
So remember what it looked like just now, and then we'll come back and show you what it looks like.
Yeah, here's a before shot.
All right, so there's the difference, and y'all just got to see that in a little bit of fast forward action there on us putting all those out there. But we got our peppers and jalapenos, all of our new tomatoes that we have out here that'll start finishing their ripeningness over here. A buttload of cucumbers. I mean, look at the tower of cucumbers. All of our okra is over there. Our cherries, a lot of our tomatoes we already had out here. And so I would like to say this might be our biggest harvest yet.
I think so.
Look at this table. I mean, we just keep preserving. So if you're new and you're wondering what in the world are they going to do with all that stuff, Jen cans everything. I'm in there helping her, but she's the mastermind behind it.
Not this week. He's going to be the master.
And that's because it's the unfortunate time of month. I don't even want to call it no wives' tale because it seems very true, but you're not supposed to do it when it's that time. Because you can get false seals and different stuff, and I mean, women are connected to the moon, so it's craziness. So you just be on the safe side and don't do it. So it looks like it's going to be my turn to can, and lucky for me, it's our biggest harvest yet. But yeah, we got plenty of stuff to eat. We preserve every single one of these things. Not 1 ounce will be wasted. And I know this sounds crazy, but really none of it will even be given to anyone. We'll have it all, and we'll make sure to preserve it all. And then everyone, all of our family. The after, exactly.
Yeah, the canned and the chili and the tomato sauce and the pickles, all that stuff we share.
Yeah, because honestly, one thing that we notice is when you give a lot to others, it does end up spoiling. You know, they want a tomato, they don't need 30 tomatoes. So let's preserve them, and then we'll offer everybody to come over for dinner. But there's the harvest. All right, we decided to come back outside. The lighting's just a lot better out here than inside the house. But that was the garden walk, plus harvest, plus biggest harvest of the year. And then that just gave me a big old workload for the week.
It did. And we hate to leave y'all, but today is the first day of homeschool, which you will see tomorrow on tomorrow's video. And the babies are officially up, and we're gonna get this day going and get this school started.
Yeah, I saw Wyatt go straight to his video games.
Yeah, he did. He's soaking that up because he knows we're busy.
Right, I think he forgot, or like you said, he's just soaking it up because he knows he hasn't been told yet. Yeah. But we got to get in. I got to get preserving. She's got to get homeschooling.
That's right.
All right, Stop Tribe. This is where we leave you.
We love you.
We catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.